Oh, yeah.
It's like the nursing field. It's like we are there every day. There's something new. You know what I mean? Computers.
That's how.
We live?
Let me help you control the, what the goes on. Things.
No, okay, I'm done.
Testing, can y'all hear us? Yay, okay, thanks for your patience. Give us just one more second to make sure everything's good to go. Think we're good. Joseph, if you want to take over.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer, and good afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the General Academic Institutions, Technical and State Colleges Formula Advisory Committee meeting to order. Please be advised that this meeting is being recorded, and I would like all attendees to silence your cell phones. If you are connected remotely, please mute your connection until you are ready to speak, prevent background noise. And thank you everyone for that. So to begin, Jennifer, would you go ahead and do the roll call?
The good news is I was able to detect who was here and we do have a quorum, so we can
Good.
skip the individual.
Well,
name
good.
calling.
Also, thank you, Jennifer. With the quorum present, we'll move on to agenda item number 3. So the next agenda item is approval of the September 5th meeting minutes. A copy of that was included in your agenda materials. Do members have any comments, questions, or corrections to the draft minutes? Hearing none, do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Was that Noel?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And do I have a second?
I'll second. Judy Crowell.
Judy Noel, thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 And I'll just ask, any opposed, same sign? Hearing none, the motion passes. So thank you, everyone. Moving quickly over to agenda item number 4, which is the discussion of the commissioner's charges to the committee. The charge 1 through 3 work group, which was led by Miss Emily Deerdorf, met last week. So I'll turn it over to Emily to provide us with an update on that group's progress. Thank you, Emily.
Thanks, Joseph. As you said, we met last week to talk over the high-level funding recommendations. We had Jennifer run some different scenarios for us that we're still mulling over, but basically there are 3 topics that we looked at. The first was the determination of inflation. So looking at, the initial analysis provided a 9.5% increase. So we were looking at some more conservative estimates using HEPI, a 3-year rolling average of HEPI, which is similar to what this committee did in the last biennium. So looking at that for a more conservative estimate and seeing how those assumptions would adjust our total funding recommendation. In addition to inflation, we looked at the assumptions used for research expenditure growth, especially given the uncertain nature with our federal research funding. So we're looking at some different methodologies there to also give an estimate that more accurately reflects what we think is going to happen in the upcoming biennium. And then the final topic was the small institution supplement. There was interest in looking at this more than just increasing the amount by inflation, but to increase the minimum or the maximum amount of funding we looked at increasing that to 5 million and extending the base of schools who would get the full amount from 5,000 students to 10,000 students, and then also extending the runway to 20,000 students. So this would increase the number of schools that receive the small institution supplement, as well as creating a longer flight path for those smaller schools to receive that maximum amount. That's kind of the major topics we're looking at. Once we get a firmer sense of where we are, we'll be sure to share with the group and we can get broader feedback.
All right. Thank you, Emily. Does anyone on the committee have any questions or comments about that? Hearing it, I'd just like to say, I know, Emily, we talked already, but I think just the methodology that your group comes up with, and then as a committee that we can, I think, move forward with, I think it's going to be important because we don't make appropriation decisions, but I think it's important that we do have a recommendation with regard to inflation adjustments, especially since, as we talk, we haven't had a tuition fee increase since fall of 2021. So a lot's happened since then. And I know the state's put some very generous dollars into higher education. So that's been very important. So anyway, thank you for the work that you're doing and the committee's doing. One thing I've learned is a lot of the work it happens by these work groups. So Daniel and Emily, and I appreciate the work y'all are doing.
Joseph,
yes, go
sorry,
ahead.
can I mention one thing that kind of you just touched on that I did mention that I think maybe in our write-up, we could in some, not in a negative way, but maybe in some kind of positive way, emphasize the compounded effect of the 5 years of no tuition increase, because the inflation adjustment is going to end up somewhere between maybe 3 and 4%, but really the compounded effect of the 5 years without is closer to 15 to 20% or something like that. So I know we want to be positive about it, that we've kept tuition costs down, but it's still a big deal for all of us.
Thank you, Sherry. Yes. We will take that into consideration, yes, as we write a report. Any other comments? Hearing none. Emily, thank you. And for moving on to charge 4 at the last meeting, I asked the coordinating board staff to provide some background information on the outcomes of the HEAF study that met last summer and to inform us of the discussion. Mr. Andy McLaren is here to brief us on that presentation. So thank you, Andy.
Afternoon, everybody. I'm Andy McLaurin. Going to be covering the HEAF overview that Jennifer provided to you guys previously. HEAF, Higher Education Fund, is provided to institutions that do not receive the Available University Fund. Available University Fund is constitutionally dedicated to the UT and select institutions at the A&M system. On this page, you can see all the recipients of the HEAF. We have a new one, Sam Houston State University College of Osteopathic Medicine. Next slide shows the constitutional uses of the HEAF. I would point out the fourth one on the right, debt service on bonds to finance projects for eligible uses. Although this had been a long time practice, it was codified by House Bill 42 this last session. So now that is an officially authorized use. Next slide, HEAF study and timeline. So I think this is a pretty unique aspect of HEAF. I haven't encountered anything else like this in my career, where an appropriation is set for a specified period of time on the constitutional requirement to do so. The Constitution requires the legislature to review HEAF funding and allocation every 10 years, but in the 5th year of that 10-year period, legislature may adjust the allocation. The way I think of this and the way I would explain it simply is an appropriation is how big the pie is. Allocation methodology determines how big everyone's slice is and how we determine how big everyone's slice is. One thing I would like to point out on the copy that we provided to you guys previously, lower right-hand side on some of our slides says summer 2029. We want to make sure the legislature has that information when they meet in January 2029. So shown on this slide, it should be summer, fall 2028. Next slide shows the history of total HEAF annual appropriation levels. This last session, the legislature provided a 50% increase. You can see that there's been steady increases. I think the issue that we really highlighted in our report that we produced last year was the impact of inflation, and construction inflation in particular has outpaced this. And our recommendation at that time was 100% increase in the annual appropriation. The legislature chose to provide a 50% increase last session. Next slide shows the allocation methodology. At the top, I would draw your attention to the facility supplement. This is a brand new factor. We've gone from 3 factors to 4. The 3 factors shown below have been in place for some time. The facility supplement provides up to $2 million for each institution with less than a 5,000 student headcount. There's a proportional phase out from 5,000 to 20,000 students. Some of our key findings from our HEAF study from last year are on the next slide. Deferred maintenance needs at HEAF institutions have grown 112% from 2018 to 2023. HEAF appropriated amounts have remained the same for that same period of time. HEAF expenditures on deferred maintenance dropped from covering 8% to 4% of the deferred maintenance need. Overall, total institutional expenditures from all sources on deferred maintenance have increased by 40%. HEAF expenditures represent approximately half of institutional expenditures on deferred maintenance, indicating HEAF is a critical source of funding. This next slide has some observations regarding the issue that you guys are wrestling with. The current methodology does not take into account the effective age of buildings. Although coordinating board data includes the original occupancy date of buildings, there is no data collected on when or what type of renovations have been done to older facilities over their lifespan. The 2024 group discussed that building condition assessment is difficult, and no single methodology exists that produces consistent data across all institutions. The group considered adding a factor to weight facilities based on their effective age, but due to the lack of consistent data on renovations or the condition of buildings, the group chose not to pursue this approach. The group did recommend considering how to collect data and reviewing this issue again for methodology discussions in the future. So I think that explains why we have this charge today, because there is some not only discussion, but there's some runway required for the implementation of these. Or whatever you guys come up with will take some time to implement. And then finally, the last slide just shows the charge. And that's our overview. We can answer any questions you guys might have.
Thank you, Andy. Does anyone have any questions? Comments?
Joseph, the only thing I'll add is we're meeting, the Charge 4 work group is meeting next Friday for our initial discussion on this.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. And thank you, Daniel, for that. Yeah, I look forward to our discussions there. I will ask you, is there a way you could share, Andy, the actual Excel file? I think I have it, but others may not on this. Is that something that can be shared?
Excel file of actual distributions of HEAF or which?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
No, just the actual distribution.
Yeah, certainly we can do that. We'll follow up with that.
Thank you. Does anybody else have any comments or? Maybe it's going to be a short meeting. So thank you. So just continuing on. I don't want to waste anybody's time. Our next meeting is scheduled for Thursday, October the 30th at 1 o'clock. And like this one, there will be a virtual option available. I've asked this, but I'll ask it again. Does anyone wish to request any additional material from the coordinating board? Hearing none. If There are no further questions or points of discussion. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
That's Emily, thank you. Second,
Second.
who is that? Jeff?
Yes, sir.
So we have a motion from Emily and a second from Jeff Hinton. All those in favor say aye.
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 And with that, the motion carries. So the Formula Advisory Committee is adjourned until our next meeting, October 30th at 1 o'clock. So everyone, thank you very much for your time. See you next time.